Diagnosed with autism at 13 years old, Thomas Iland has worked hard to achieve his goals, learning to drive, living on his own, graduating from college, obtaining full-time employment, becoming a distinguished Toastmaster, running a marathon, and having a girlfriend. He is the author of the Amazon #1 best-selling book, Come to Life, Your Guide to Self-Discovery. This speech is intended for high school students about to take the next step in their lives, whether it be going to college, looking for their first job, or fighting their purpose to become their best selves. The title of the speech, Be the Hero in Your Life. Please welcome Thomas Iland.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for having me here again. And happy International Women's Day too. Yes, certainly. Women are very inspirational figures too. Now, by shouting out, who has a hero in their life and who is it?
By shouting out.
So, a person. My mom. Your mom? Okay, that's nice. Your family's your hero? How about you, sir?
My baby brother.
Your baby brother's your hero.
Friends.
Friends are heroes. They can be heroes. Celebrities?
Miss L.
Any Miss L. I think you just made her day.
Friends, family, and teachers.
Awesome. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you today how you can be the hero in your own life, because we all look up to people, whether it be a man, a woman, real or fictional, living or dead, but each and every one of you has the potential to be your best self and bring out the best in others. And I'm going to break the ice a little bit with a talent that I have. There are 26 letters in the alphabet. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and so on. What I can do is take words like your names, for example, and give their letters numerical value and add them up as quick as a calculator. I'll give you an example. So the name Tom. T is 20, O is 15, and M is 13. You add these up, and you get 48. I can do that very, very quickly. Would anybody like to volunteer their name and how it's spelled? You in the yellow shirt.
Alana, A-L-A-N-A.
A-L-A-N-A is 29. Okay, how about you in the green?
Jamil, J-A-M-I-L.
J-A-M-I-L, 45. I'll do one more. I know you got a lot of hands, and I'll be here after class, so we can do that if you want to. You in the red.
Jonathan, J-O-N-A-T-H-A-N.
Okay, it's a little bit longer than usual, but thank you for spelling that out. That comes out to 83. Okay, so as you can see, I have a talent, and I have your attention now. Hopefully I'll keep it for the rest of this presentation. But each and every one of you has something like this, something unique about you, something you do better than anyone else on the planet. And I want to help you bring that out today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about being diagnosed with autism and how referring to a hero, and I'm going to tell you who it is in a moment, helped me overcome a lot of obstacles. I'm going to tell you about some qualities of a hero and also how you can help bring out the hero in others. And then at the end of the class, we're all going to take an oath. Not like you're going to be sworn into like a club per se, or you're not under oath like you have to tell the truth, but this will be something that you can take away from today and use to become your best self. So like Miss L mentioned, and some of you know this about me, some of you may not, I was diagnosed with autism when I was 13 years old. That means I'm not really good, or at least at the time when I was diagnosed, I'm not really good with social skills. Raise your hand if you have friends or are good with forming relationships. A lot of you are? I wasn't. Now, I wanted to have a girlfriend really badly, for instance. Raise your hand if you've had a crush on someone. Everybody. So what I would do, when I liked a girl, I would call her, leave a voicemail when she didn't answer. She never answered me back, so I thought I'd call her again. I heard, oh no, I think you can see where this is going, right? No answer back. Called her a third time, left another voicemail, but still no answer. And my sister heard from this girl. She told my sister, if your brother doesn't stop calling me, I'm going to the police. And that was a scary time in my life. So my mother, who was a bit of a hero in my life too, told me that a relationship, a friendship, is like a tennis game. I serve you the ball, and you have to serve it back. Because I was serving, calling, and not getting any answer. So the rule that we set in our household is I get 2 serves, 2 calls, and if there's no bounce back, I have to find another girl to play with. And I've kept that rule to this day. But the diagnosis of autism, knowing that there was such a difficult time forming friends, having relationships, I felt hopeless. But I had hope when I thought of a hero in my life. And that hero Cape knuckle. Batman. See, Batman was someone who I could look up to know, to get the job done, to get through difficult times. Where there's a will, there's a way. I looked up to him to see myself through the hard times, to stay determined, to stay disciplined, and to stay driven to what I wanted to do with myself. I also realized, though, growing up, that I can't hide who I am. I have to tell people about my struggles, my difficulties, and where I need help. Because when all is said and done, I don't need a cape. And I don't need a mask. When we remove our masks, when we shed our mortality, if you will, realize we are vulnerable, and like Bruce Wayne, he can die. All of us are going to die one day. How we live on this earth, and the time that we do have on this earth really do matter. And I intend to make the most of it. So, on that note, I'm going to describe three words that begin with D. How many words? Three. That describe what a hero is like. The first word, if you have a pen and paper, I encourage you to take notes and see how this could help you in the future. The first D of a hero is determination. Determination. Now with Batman, he was very determined. When he saw something, he worked hard for it. He wouldn't quit until the job was done. And I had that same determination and that Batman mentality when I was calling that girl multiple times. Maybe if I just call her enough, she'll eventually say yes. But girls, it's safe to say it doesn't work that way, right? No? But I also realized that there aren't just heroes, fictional characters that are determined. There have been people in our history that were also very determined. Raise your hand if you know who Thomas Edison was. Okay, and shout out, what did he invent? The light bulb. Okay? Does anybody know how many times he failed in making the light bulb before he finally succeeded? You, sir?
50.
50? More. Okay, there are. You, sir?
100.
More. You, sir?
209.
Say again?
209.
More.
One more close to 1,000.
More.
20,000.
Less. Less than 20,000.
Was it more than 1,000 or 80?
Between 1,000 and 20,000. Anyone? You guys are getting warmer. How about you, sir?
15.
15,000? Less? Say again? More? I'll take one more guess, then I'll give you the answer.
8,000.
A little bit more. 10,000 attempts to make this light bulb until he finally succeeded. That's determination, isn't it? I mean, if you think you might stop doing something or your spirits are dead after 3, 4, 5 attempts, imagine 10,000. And do you know what he said when he finally succeeded in making the light bulb? He said, I didn't find the way to make the light bulb. I found 10,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. Kind of ironic, isn't it? But looking at all the times that he failed, all the times he messed up, but he knew that what he was working on, we still use very much today. And that's why he kept at it. Applying that story to you, how many of you have failed before? Raise your hand. Just about everybody? So have I. I've had relationships that failed. I got fired from jobs. I quit jobs. I even had an entire career as an accountant. Some of you may know my goal in life was to be George Lucas's accountant because I love Star Wars and I'm good with numbers, as you know. And I did work for Disney, which was later acquired by Lucasfilm. but I still didn't succeed in that job. I wasn't happy, and my spirits are being killed. So I left that behind, and now I'm putting forth my determination, my killer spirit, if you will, to educate you and help you see that you can become your best self and to stay determined. Even if you fail a couple of times, even if you mess up, even if it doesn't work out the way you had hoped, you can still do what you put your mind and your heart to. Granted that you don't spend too much of your life being unhappy, because if you stay in a course or towards something that you really, really don't like, or if you finally do accomplish it, what did it cost you? Friends, family, maybe some fun times, things that you really valued that you can't or may not necessarily be able to get back. So making sure that you know what you're going for and if it is indeed worth the journey. That's determination, one of the first main characteristics of a hero. Who's ready for the second characteristic of a hero? Okay? If you have a pen and paper, write this down. Discipline. I mentioned it would be starting with D. We have determination. Now we have discipline. Everyone say discipline. Discipline. Okay. How many of you take martial arts or performing arts or are involved in some kind of sport, athletics? You have a lot of dedication and time going into that practice, right? Well, even something as small as making your bed every morning. Raise your hand if you make your bed every morning. Maybe about half the room. Okay. Because that bed's going to be waiting for you at the end of the day. Would you rather it look clean and nice or kind of messy? Some of you might like messy, okay. Personally, I like neat. But the military, police officers, firefighters, first responders, paramedics, they all are very routine, they're very neat, they're very organized because they never know when they might be called into action. They have to maintain that discipline and be on alert. Now think about some of the things that you might get lazy about or things you kind of cast aside. Anybody have an example of something they put off till later or procrastinate on that later they have to deal with? You? Homework? You have something you put?
That was mine.
Oh, you put off homework too?
Dirty dishes.
Dirty dishes.
Chores.
Chores, yes, like dirty dishes. You?
Sweeping the floor.
Sweeping the floor.
School projects.
School projects.
Valentine's.
Oh, yeah, you?
Valentine's Day gifts.
Oh, Valentine's Day, and that was about 3 weeks ago, so it's a little bit late for that, but you never know. And last one back there.
Getting my car washed.
Getting your car washed. All of these things that you know you have to do or might consider doing, but you're like, I'll do it later. See, I have a bit of a mentality where if it can be done today, you do it today. If it's important to you and if it's time sensitive, like there's a deadline attached to it, it's best to get it done. And yes, with life and everything that's happening here at school, at home, your extracurricular activities, maybe even your job if you have one, it can be difficult to manage all of that. But having a routine, something to keep yourself organized, is what allows you to be more effective as the hero in your life. Because I mentioned those first responders, those military, they have their ducks in a row. Anybody know or have heard that term, have your ducks in a row? Because they could be called in a moment's notice and they need to be on their toes. So maintaining the discipline, having a routine, something that you can hold yourself to is going to make you more effective as a hero. So we've gone over determination, we've gone over discipline. Now we're going to go over a third characteristic of a hero, and that is, ready for the pen and paper here, drive. Everyone say drive. Drive. Now I say drive not necessarily as the car or getting into a car, get behind the driver's seat, but rather answering the question of why you do what you do. Because once you understand, you're clear on why you're doing what you're doing, it's going to become evident, you're going to be so on point as to why you are doing what you're doing. Now, I mentioned that we only have so much time on this planet. How many of you would say you are using your time most effectively? Or how many of you are making the best use of your time? Only a few. Raise your hand if you goof off playing video games, or you watch too much TV, or you do things you probably shouldn't be doing. And that's common. I was your age when I too played a lot of video games during the day. But it came to my attention just how much I was playing video games. When I actually timed myself, I started a clock when I began the video games, and hours would pass by. 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe even 6 hours a day. Imagine if I had dedicated that time to doing something else. Maybe learning a trade, practicing a new skill, bettering myself as a person. Now, I'm a bit of a math person. Remember I mentioned 10,000 attempts with Thomas Edison? Well, I'm going to bring up that number again, 10,000. Who here has read or heard of the book The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell? A few of you? In this book, Malcolm Gladwell describes the 10,000-hour rule. The way that works is it takes roughly 10,000 hours of practice for you to become like world class in a given skill. Whether it be playing an instrument, whether it be athletics, whether it be public speaking, 10,000 hours of practice to make you the top of your game, like the person that everyone wants to know and bring in and idolize. Now, 4 hours a day to get to 10,000 hours, and not taking weekends off, 4 hours a day, how many years do you think it would take to get to 10,000 hours at 4 hours a day of a certain skill? How many years?
10 years.
10 years? Less? Yes?
Maybe like 7 or 8.
Yeah, just under 7 years. Just under 7 years at 4 hours a day will get you to the 10,000 that you need to be world class. Let's increase that 4 to a 5. How many years would it take you at 5 hours a day to get to the 10,000 hours? Let's shout out some new numbers. Yes?
Since it would be more, probably about like 5.
Yeah, roughly 5.5. 5.5 years at 5 hours a day practicing will get you to the 10,000 hours. Now, 4 years. That's a magical time frame because the Olympics are 4 years apart. Presidential elections are 4 years apart. I see someone's excited about the presidential election there. It's cool. How many hours do you think you have to practice in a day to master an art in 4 years? We know it's more than 5. You?
8.
Maybe a little bit less? Yeah, so it's about 7 hours a day. 7 hours a day, every day, will help you master it in 4 years. So Olympians, presidential candidates, government representatives, and others that really want to be at the top of their game and quick have to practice roughly 7 hours a day. That's practically a full-time job when you think about it. When you work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to 40 hours a week. So it's practicing and understanding why you're doing what you're doing and really staying the course is what makes you more effective, and you have the drive to be the hero in your life. So let's review those 3 Ds so far. We have dedication, really following your gut, staying the course, even if you fail, even if you get rejected, even if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you break up, you still keep moving forward. Remember what Alfred said to Batman, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. That's determination. I'll take your question at the end. Discipline. Staying the course, being in a routine, having that routine be consistent, and being on your toes so that you can be ready and you're firm and you have your mind in the right place. That's one of the key components of discipline, is having your mind in the right place. And drive, where your heart is, and you keep moving forward, and you have the dedication to keep the hours being put in. So those are the 3 Ds: determination, discipline, and drive when it comes to being the hero in your life. Now, this is how you become your best self. But what about how you can help others? And this is a class that definitely helps make the world a better place. And I'm going to give you an acronym. Who here knows what an acronym is? Or a mnemonic? In the back? Yeah.
It's a collection of letters and each one stands for a different word.
That's exactly right. A collection of letters where each letter stands for a different terminology. And one example is if you have to memorize the Great Lakes, homes, H for Huron, O for Ontario, M for Michigan, E for Erie, and S for Superior. Well, I'm going to give you a little acronym that you can take away with you to help you really help other people become their best selves. You ready for this acronym? And it'll be easy to remember because you're breathing it right now. AIR. A-I-R. The A stands for acceptance. Acceptance. This is particularly important when you have autism or a diagnosis, or even if you don't. Raise your hand if you like people attempting to change you or implying you need to be different. No hands. One person, well, okay. So you want people to change you?
Yeah.
But how does it feel to have it be suggested to you that you're not all right the way you are? Terrible. How else do you feel when you think you have to change?
Feel like I'm being dictated.
Dictated?
Like, I'm not good enough.
Like you're not good enough. And no one likes to feel that way, right? So by accepting people for who they are, flaws and all, and this is a great class for that because we all are all about realizing that it's okay to be different. Because back when I had autism, I thought that being different was a bad thing. And when we were younger, we sometimes got bullied for being different or because young people didn't understand the differences. We fear what we don't understand, right? But accepting us for who we are, loving us for who we are, that sets the tone for a better world. So A is acceptance. Let's go on to the I in AIR. The I stands for inclusion. Inclusion. Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm including you. Because this is a class about social inclusion. No one wants to feel isolated or rejected, right? But it can be difficult to reach out to someone to want to pull them in, and you might fear they don't want to, or you'll stick out like a sore thumb. But you know what? For someone with autism, and I'm speaking from personal experience when I was younger, I wanted people to include me. But I didn't have the courage in myself to go ask them if I could play with them, or if I did, they saw me as the weird kid and said, no, go away. But each and every one of you have the opportunity to include people in your life, and for all you know, it could make their day and even save their life. And I'll briefly bring this up in the day and age of school shootings. By not including someone, by seeing them as weird, rejecting them for who they are, it could prompt a disaster. So anytime you see someone who's kind of lonely, doesn't seem to be engaging with his or her peers, you can make the difference in their world and the world by attempting to include them in your life. Give me an example of how you might include someone. Yes?
I would say like inviting them just to hang out.
Invite them to hang out. That's an awesome example. Yes? Eat lunch with them at school. Yes. Invite them to join your group.
Trade phone numbers.
Trade phone numbers. Uh-huh. We'll do one more.
Buy a game that we could both play together.
Buy a game they could both play.
Like Star Wars, not
Like Star Wars. The point is, when you make the effort, you reach out to that person because they may very want you to reach out to them, but they haven't found it in themselves. They aren't being the hero in their lives yet. But you can help them be the hero by being there for them. Does that make sense? Inclusion. So we've gone over acceptance. We've gone over inclusion. Now we get to the R in AIR, and that stands for relationships. Relationships. And I'm not necessarily talking about like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, or like really close relationships, but the friendships that you have, the company that you keep. These all have a purpose, and in this day and age, it's not just what you know, it's who you know. There could be a job waiting out there for you. A friend of yours or maybe a family member of your friends has a high connection in that job, and you can get that position that you want by knowing the right people. And speaking from personal experience, some of you might be following me on social media. 3 days ago, because I knew the right people, because I asked them if I could, and I followed up with them, I'm speaking at the United Nations in New York on World Autism Day. Because I saw and understood the power of relationships. By knowing someone on the inside, asking for what I want, knowing that I was worth it, and also understanding that now that this person's done me a favor, I can do a favor for them in return. So it's a give and take relationship, a two-way street. I wasn't just serving him the ball. We have a two-way tennis game. Relationships, when it comes down to it, really are everything. Particularly when it comes to people with autism and other unique needs. Because they do want relationships, contrary to belief that people with autism in particular, they want to be alone or they don't want to have friends. It's not true. They do want friends. They do want the acceptance, the inclusion, and the relationships. But they may not know how to get it. So you can help make it happen. Let's review the air. We have acceptance, we have inclusion, and we have relationships. This is how you bring out the hero in others. This is how you make the world a better place. And it's easy to remember because we breathe air. Well, air is also what's going to make the world a better place and improve the world as a whole. Who's learning a lot today so far? I love it. Something I want to do for you, and I've never done this with a group before, but I want you to really take in everything that we have done here today, because I'm getting ready to close. I want you to stand up for me. Everybody up. Sorry if I had to wake you from your nap. Okay. What we're going to do, I'm going to stand right here. You're going to raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, and you're going to repeat after me. I matter.
I matter.
What I think matters.
What I think matters.
What I feel matters.
What I feel matters.
What I say matters.
What I say matters.
And what I do matters.
What I do matters.
To myself.
To myself.
And others.
And others.
I will conduct myself.
I will conduct myself.
With determination.
With determination.
Discipline.
Discipline.
And drive.
And drive.
I will help others.
I will help others.
Through acceptance.
Through acceptance.
Inclusion.
Inclusion.
And relationships.
And relationships.
I am
I
the hero in my life.
am the hero in my life.
Thank you so much. You guys have been awesome.